Hey, I'm Gareth from Bar Cameras and we're here at the spectacular launch event of the brand new Canon EOS R. Canon have put on quite a show for us to try it out. So this is the brand new full-frame mirrorless camera from Canon, the EOS R. Now it's rocking a 30 megapixel sensor, so you can get some nice detailed images and they look really great. The image quality is actually something I really wanted to talk about because we were super impressed by the images we were able to get out of it. So where we were shooting it was fairly sort of dark, low light conditions. It looked amazing and there were photographic opportunities everywhere, but it was fairly low light, but the EOS R just didn't even blink. Some of these images were taken at 12,800 ISO, and we didn't have any issues with noise, anything like that. They just look really great. They also look really, really sharp, which is incredible. In terms of speed, it'll also shoot up to 8 frames per second. And one of the biggest things about this new camera is the new mount, so the RF mount. And Canon have announced 4 new lenses to go along with the camera, all of which have a control ring on them, which allows you to control various things. So it can be customized to your liking. We were using it to control aperture, but you can also customize it to control things like ISO on the lens, which can be really handy while you're shooting if you need to be varying things like that. But you can customize it to your liking, which is a really nice touch. Now, in terms of the lenses, we got to try out the 24-105 f4 and the 50mm f1.2. And I've got to say, that last one, the 50mm f1.2, that was a dream to use. That was a lovely, lovely lens. The bokeh, the autofocus elements, they were all really nice, really incredible. Just a very appealing looking lens. And something that was incredibly impressive was the autofocus while we were using that. So often at f1.2, autofocus can be a little bit dodgy, but on this, it just snapped on, no worries. And we had absolutely no issues with it, even shooting wide open at f1.2. In fact, Canon say this is the fastest ever autofocus, and it's hard to dispute that, to be honest. It's got 5,655 autofocus positions, which is incredible. It's outrageous. That's an incredible number of autofocus positions. And we found it to be incredibly fast, incredibly snappy, and it would just lock on and we had no issues. Even when, like I say, shooting with something like the 50mm f1.2, we were able to use the autofocus to just hone on someone's face or someone's eye and get it spot on every time. It can also autofocus down to -6 EV, which is really impressive, and it never seemed to have any issues with the low light where we were trying it out. There are also a range of adapters available for the EOS R. So you've got your normal RF to EF mount adapter, which allows you to use all of your existing EF lenses with the EOS R, which is great. But there's also some slightly more advanced adapters as well. So there's one which allows you, again, to use your EF lenses, but this adapter has that control ring on it, which can still be customized to control different elements like ISO or aperture or anything like that. So it would essentially simulate like having the RF lenses on there, but with your EF lenses. There's also adapters which have drop-in variable ND filters and polarizing filters, which mean that you can put your EF lenses on there and you don't have to buy different filters for each lens because it's all just in the adapter, which is really handy. That's a really, really handy thing to be able to do. Now, in terms of video, it can shoot 4K at up to 30 frames per second, although there is a little bit of a crop, but it's not the end of the world at all. It shoots 1080p full HD video at up to 60 frames per second, and it can shoot at 120 frames per second at 720p. It's also got some really cool things as well, like the ability to shoot in C-Log, and it can output via HDMI in 10-bit. In terms of the body, it's mirrorless, so it seemed pretty lightweight and it's not too huge either, especially compared to some of the DSLRs. It's also got a really neat feature where the curtain on the front shuts when you're changing lenses to prevent dust and things like that getting in and getting on the sensor, because that can be a bit of an issue with mirrorless cameras because the sensor is so close to the front. dust and things like that can slightly more easily get in there. So that's a really nice touch that they've put in just to protect you from that. As it's a mirrorless camera, it's got the electronic viewfinder, which we found to actually be really, really good. It was nice and bright, nice and big. We didn't have any issues with things like lag or anything like that. It just looked really great. It's also got the touch LCD screen, which flips out, flips over, flips however you like. It's a vari-angle screen. We were using it a lot actually for shooting. So we were doing it for different positions, being able to shoot really down low or up high over people. It's a super handy thing. So it's very akin to something like the 60 Mark II and cameras like that, where it flips out to the side. You can flip it round so you can see yourself if you're vlogging or something like that. But you can flip it into different angles and you can turn it over and pop it back into the camera with the screen facing into the camera to protect it as well when you're not using it. It's a really, really nice thing to have, and we were using it an awful lot. Canon have also changed up the button and the dial layout, and there's now this new touch-sensitive multifunction bar that allows you to make quick adjustments to different things on the fly. So for example, if you're shooting video and you need to change the white balance or the ISO very quickly, you can map those to this touch-sensitive bar and be able to just change that as you're shooting, and very, very quickly without having to go into loads of different menus. It's all customizable, so you can just change what you want it to control, and that's a really, really handy thing to have right there at your fingertips, literally. Now, we absolutely loved our time with the EOS R. I absolutely cannot wait to get my hands on it again. We'll bring you a full review as soon as we're able to get some more time with it and get some more extensive testing going as well. So in the meantime, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.